Okay. Anything is possible in the next hour. That's all I have to say. Welcome everybody. Bill, good to see you. Thaddeus. Um, somebody from ABC Mouse, whom I know who it is. Let me turn off the mobile device and welcome to another weekly live stream here on the C47's channel. I'm sure I know who most of you are, and there's probably only a couple here right now, but we're going to get into it. 3:01 p.m. Pacific Time, Wednesday, March 27th, 2024, and we're here to chat about all things pre-production and production and all of that fun stuff. As always, here on the live stream and at the C47 is the way you ask a question and we start getting into topics. And Brandon, I most certainly do know who you are, and I'm hoping, my fingers are crossed. I did a little prayer before the live stream that you haven't emailed me or are not going to email me an image mid live stream for that. But we'll see. I'm game. We'll see what happens. And I'm actually going to move this screen over because I'm looking here at the at the camera, the teleprompter, and all that stuff. And there you go. I don't know what the "I'll be there" with 2 exclamation points means, but no pictures today. And there you go. So yes, it's bonkers over here, kids. And that just means that I need this hour to just kind of chill, have some fun conversations about gear and things like that. And hello, Pat. Good to see you and having you here on the stream today. Um, we are 2.5 weeks away from at least myself leaving for and going to Las Vegas for NAB. And just housekeeping wise, I do want to mention that this week we have the weekly live stream. Next week, I will be out of town. We will not have a live stream. And then the following week will be the pre-NAB Camera and Flask live stream. So right before NAB, that will be Wednesday, April 10th. So that's it. Got today, nothing next week, and then the following week we will have something. And then most likely the following week will be the weekly live stream. I travel that day coming back from NAB, which is what, the 17th, I believe. And then, but I'm getting in early enough that I should be able to get back here and chat away about the show. So let's get to it, kids. What are we talking about? What are the topics? What are the things that you've seen? I'm sure you've checked out Strata's, not Strata. That's a whole different thing that I'm looking at, and looks like they're working on launching their beta and everything else. Sora. Rewind, stop, press play. Sora, I've been watching some of those AI generated, we'll call them spots. There's really only one of the ones that I've seen, which is the balloon head one that really feels like a spot, but they're obviously giving access. OpenAI is giving access to some companies and individuals to let them start to generate some content using Sora. And the balloon head one is actually pretty interesting. It feels like a spot. So I hope they do a little case study on that, or we get an article or something about the pain points and the realities of actually generating content in that way and having consistency and continuity using generative AI. Because to me, right off the bat, clearly for stock images, and of course with Sora video, it makes a lot of sense. But to start to see people starting to use this in that sense, where we see a series of shots, which I am guessing were storyboarded and thought out, and then having to prompt that, and then making sure that there's consistency throughout. Just go onto the interwebs and look up Sora, and you'll see links to that stuff. Yes, we got a Nikon 28-400. Hell of a range. I'm waiting for Sigma's hopefully smaller version of their 70-200. This is not it. This is a 28-70. But I'd love to see something, especially in their DCDN lenses, that is for crop sensors. It's a really compact 70-200, which I think would be great. That with the 28, I don't know, 18-50. Then you got to jump. Maybe it's a 50 to something. I'd just like to see something in that range. All right. It's quiet here. As you know, with the weekly live streams, kids, it's all about you posting and bringing up topics and questions. I can go for a while here. I can start talking about food and all of these other things, but I'm excited. I'm hopping in a vehicle on Monday. I'm driving up to Vancouver, BC. First time going there. I'm going to generate some content for the channel when I'm up there. So that's going to be fun. And hopefully we'll get some footage of Vancouver and see some of the city. That's the plan. Meeting up with a friend up there, and I think it's going to be good. So there's that, but because I'm gone Monday through Friday, I'm in sort of insanity mode. You saw today's episode in this shirt. There'll be 2 more in this shirt and this live stream, and then I'm going to be shooting probably tomorrow into the beginning of Friday, 5 episodes that have to be shot, edited, and scheduled for Monday through Friday of next week, because I'm literally traveling Monday, out traveling back Thursday into Friday, and so I'm not going to have time. I'll shoot content that will be for future episodes, but that's the deal. Ooh, people have woken up. David's here. Hey, what's going on? I'm in Brandon's headphones while I'm welding, while he's welding. So never did I think I would read those words. I definitely don't need a photo, but that's great. Find out why some traffic lights have flashing green in Canada. It's a drinking game, Pat. So it's tied into hockey, and it's sort of like when you play chicken. So you get these flashing green. It's, do you want to take a chance and try to cross? I'm making that up. Okay. We get a shout out to Thad, but with a double D, which I like. I think that works well. Everybody does a single D for Thad or Thaddeus, but I like that, Brandon, you went that way. You're emphasizing, and you're getting, double D. I'm digging it. We've got 2 O's in Cooper, so we might as well go with the 2 D's in Thaddeus. And just, maybe it'll be Thad Coop. Will be the new name for you. All right, let's get an at theC47. David's playing games now. He's removing the H. All right, let's go. Come on, what are we talking about today? Easter's coming up this weekend. That's not a holiday that everybody celebrates. We tend to do some stuff in and around family on that day. It's another, as Toko would probably chime in. I don't know where you're getting the TO part from, though. There's no O in your first name, but that's fine. I'm going to call you Toko for now. But it is, as most holidays are, for me at least, an excuse to think about, plan for, and surround myself with friends and family, and of course food. And food being maybe the first one. No, it's not. I'm just kidding. Okay. So if you're doing anything food related this weekend, that's up for stuff here. I'm fine with that. But let's get some conversations going about gear, things that you have coming up that you want to clarify. This is the whole purpose of the weekly live stream, is to chat out things that are interesting to you, that you're trying to sort out. There we go. Thaddeus Toko. I have no idea if there's real issues with Burano cameras. So I don't know. David, I brought up the Sora stuff right at the beginning of the live stream before you jumped on, and the one with the balloon head is the most interesting to me. It feels the most storyboarded, the most thought out in terms of essentially a spot. Pretty impressive. I'd like to see a case study. Burano camera from Sony. There are some things floating around talking about rolling shutter and some IR infrared pollution issues. I have no experience using the camera. I can't verify whether or not those issues really are a big deal or not. So yeah, I guess that'll be maybe a little bit of fact finding at NAB. If anybody owns a Burano, I'd love to hear about that and see if it's really a thing or not. Yeah, and David, no need for apologies. I was just saying that I had brought it up at the beginning, and it's definitely interesting to see where that goes, and we can talk about it some more in the show. It's totally fine with me. All right, what do we got? Here we go. David says, any thought on how to repair a quarter stop Matthews 48 by 48 silk fixed frame? I have a quarter size tear. Interesting. Quarter stop silk is very, very thin. So that's part of the problem, of course. And it's a little tricky. I'm just trying to think. You might be able to, it might work. They have those little patches you can buy at places like Home Depot and Lowe's for fixing screens. And there are little ones that actually have an adhesive on them. And you might be able to cut a small patch of that and put it on there. I just don't know if it's really going to hold, and it might be a little too rigid because a quarter stop is pretty thin. There may be some other products like that, David, that you might want to look into. Get on Amazon and look at not screen doors, but when you have in a window, when you open the window and then there's the other screen, some of that is very, very thin, and they make that in different colors sometimes. So it might be just like a patch type of thing for fabric. I'd look for fabric repair and patches and see where you wind up with that. Yeah, so that's at least the beginning part. Not something I can dive into while we're doing the live stream, but I feel like that might be the way. And is that 4x4 silk fixed frame? Did you skin it, or can you replace it, or is it one of the ones that is you said it's a fixed frame with the fabric, but can you take the fabric off, or do you have to repair it on the frame? Give me more data, David. All right, moving on to Inbox Media in Chi-Town. Would you feel comfortable using an FX30 for a 2-hour web stream? Would just be sending the HDMI, no internal record? Would there be any concerns with overheating any Blackmagic cameras? Don't get the last part of that unless you mean, should I be maybe using a Blackmagic camera instead? I would not have any initial concerns about that. The FX30 and FX3 share the same body design. They have an internal fan. I've never run into an issue. I don't think you will run into an issue with that camera. I would feel comfortable doing that. There are times where I have both this FX30 and, which is not playing right now, and the A7C2 running for hours and hours, and not having any issues. A7C2, I've had a couple of strange things happen. One was actually during a Camera Flask episode where all of a sudden it wasn't an overheating thing. It just looked like we had entered interstellar, and there was this weird pattern that showed up. But and then one other time, I feel like I had like something where it froze or it acted a little strange, but no issues with the FX30, and I think that was an anomaly on the A7C2. So yeah, I would feel comfortable doing that, for sure. Hey, Sully. Brandon says, here's a question. We'll be expanding our studio and are choosing flooring, carpet or vinyl wood. I hate the look of carpet, but understand the acoustic benefit. I'd rather throw rugs down. I'm adding the word down if needed. Or I'd rather throw rugs if needed, if I'm going to read that a different way. It's a tough one. This space has concrete floors, which are obviously quite reflective, and I throw down carpets and, sound or moving blankets. I'm actually going to do an episode next week on a potential solution for shooting and recording interviews on hard surface floors. But that's really a tough one. If you're going to do carpet, to me, the most logical is going to be basically a commercial carpet, a very, very, very low pile. And that's also beneficial because if you do anything that has any, um, you know, any, it's not, it's any movement, if you put that carpet pad underneath it and then there's some pile to the carpet, you will tend to, especially for talent, readjust how you're standing, and that can become very, very uncomfortable. In fact, that's why at like trade shows, it's much more preferable to have a commercial carpet that's low pile than something that's very cushy, because you're constantly readjusting and you'll find that your feet ache after a long day. So, but the disadvantage to using anything that's carpet based is if you're putting lights or cameras on rollers and things like that, then you lose that benefit to a degree. So it's a hard call. Um, I would probably tend to go with a hard surface. It's also much easier to maintain in terms of cleaning. But vinyl wood is probably something that I would avoid, to be honest with you. I mean, they have mats that you can get that are neutral gray and things like that, and you can lay those down. Sometimes they interlock, but they do sell them in large sheets. That might be an option. It's sort of an in-betweener because there will be some sound absorbing properties, but it's more like a hard surface. So those are some things to think about, but that's my initial thoughts. Dylan's been looking at the Nikon Z or Nikon Z, depending on where you're from, Dylan. Nikon's making some nice cameras. I don't really have a lot of experience with the 8 or 9, to be honest, so I don't have a lot of personal, experience using them. They make great cameras. They make great optics or lenses, so there's no reason why I would say you shouldn't use them. They are living in that same realm as companies, behind Sony, then Canon, when it comes to autofocus. They're probably, sharing that third spot. Maybe they are the third spot. And I'm talking about AF for video. But yeah. David sewn to the frame. So yeah, I would be looking for patch-based repair kits for screens and things and fabric repair, and see what you can find there. A place like Joann's or Michael's may have something, because you obviously want to fix it and retain, as best as you can, even if it's just a quarter size, the light transmission that you get out of that quarter stop silk. Yeah. Okay. Zexun Tan. Hopefully I'm saying that correctly. Welcome. And I was supposed to go to Singapore to do a job for Apple many years ago, but it got changed. thanks for showing up to the live stream. I appreciate it. If you have any questions, all you have to do is put in at theC47, and there you go. Yeah, Thad, that's a good recommendation, is just reaching out to Matthews directly, and you can tell them you have a tear. I think that's a great idea. They may even have a little repair kit for you that you may be able to purchase, or they'll send out. I don't know for sure. Yeah, vinyl. I don't know, Brandon. I gave you my thoughts on that. Tell me what you think. All right, David says, at theC47, when you talked about Sora, have you talked about or seen 11 Labs audio AI? Crazy stuff as well. I have not, David, and if you want to send me an email to contact@theC47.com, I'd love to take a look at that. Inbox says, yes, was asking any Blackmagic cameras to consider for 2-hour web stream. Subject will be 30 feet away. I mean, 30 feet away, depending on your focal length, may be an issue or not. Blackmagic cameras are not great in the focus department. Well, they're great if you're good at focusing and you're at the right stop and you have enough depth of field. If that's not a consideration, if you're shooting at a, let's say, an 8-11 split, then you're probably going to be fine on a manual focus. If you want the camera to do some work for you, then I think your FX30 may be a better choice for that. Sully's about to buy a Canon XH-A1 with a capture device to convert it to digital. Okay, cool. Brandon now comes in out of nowhere with the weekend menu, which is not entirely different. I don't know what the hell a Pazuki is. Pazukis. Is this a Polish thing? Tell me, and not a problem. I want to know. We've got a bunch of people coming. I can tell you that it's going to be appetizers, deviled eggs, gravlax with the fixings. And then mains are going to be, we'll have a couple of hams with real Canadian maple syrup. There's going to be sausage and peppers and potatoes and onions. That'll be Italian style. We'll do both sweet Italian and hot Italian sausages for that. Mac and cheese, really good mac and cheese. Big salad. There's other stuff. There's going to be plenty of food. And then there's a birthday thrown in there too. So it's kind of like a combo Easter, birthday, family in town. Another reason I'm psycho this week, because the trip next week, but I have to make sure that basically by end of day Friday, all of the stuff that I'm bringing is set so I can spend time with family on the weekend. So it's going to be crazy. All right. You're going to call Martine? All right, David. Let's see if that works. They're usually very good customer service-wise over at Matthews Studio Equipment. So there you go. Inbox says, I'm using 11 Labs for training content. Pretty darn good. In what respect are you using them for training? To create training content and their audio AI? I'd like to know that. Oh, Pizuki is a pizza cookie. Large, soft-baked cookie in a pie pan topped with ice cream and many spoons. Wow, okay. I've seen something like that in the past. There we go. Anybody else want to share their menus if they have one for this weekend? We're open to that, but let's get back into some more equipment stuff. What else do we have? I'm ready. Let's go. Yeah, we're 25 minutes in, and I feel like I'm hoping we're not just going to get going in the last 5 to 10 minutes of the live stream. So wake up, everybody. It only goes when you're going. That's kind of how it works. And I'm excited when it is. It makes it so much more interesting. I have a lot of windows open over here. I think it's time for me to quit and clean up this stuff. There we go. Duck for protein. Not sure about the rest. Duck is, I'm hoping I'm not offending anybody, but duck to me, I think the easy way to say this is duck to me is the best bird. And they are darn cute. But the reality is they just taste so delicious that, if you asked me, chicken, duck, forget about health implications, but chicken, duck, turkey, right? We're going to do our main. I'm not putting squab in there, but chicken, duck, turkey, duck wins every day. Plus, you're still getting the eggs, which is great. The weather is just bonkers. Hold on. I think we're getting like a major storm. Hold on one second. It's crazy. I don't know what's. It's like a hailstorm or something going on. It's never this loud. It's got to be hail. I don't know. Like, it's bonkers outside right now. I don't think you're hearing it. Are you? I still don't think you're hearing it. You might be hearing it, but I think sound devices for the win with noise assist, and now it's gone. It's one of those moments. Okay. Quail. I've had quail eggs. I've probably eaten quail in the past. It's not high on my list. I don't know if I have a problem with it. I don't think I do. But yeah, I'd go for some quail. Audio VO for training instead of human voice. Copy. I don't know what the not really is, David. I missed something. Sully's having turkey and mash and apple pie. It's sort of like a revisiting. Like, I can't wait until Thanksgiving. So if you're based here, Sully, I don't know if you are, but that menu sounds very American. Yeah. There you go. Emu, I've never eaten. When I was a kid in Scotland, there used to be this show with an emu, and then I had an emu, like a puppet, and the emu in the show would always like go like this on everybody's neck. So I used to do that as a very annoying. Sully's in Ontario. Okay, I'm down for that. Look, nothing wrong with turkey, mashed potatoes, and apple pie. But emu is great but filling. Depends on how much you eat, right? Or is it just a protein that is like very filling to begin with? All right. Yeah, your atmospheric trough is headed our way. Supposed to be storming. Is it? It's supposed to be storming on Easter here. Okay. Fair enough. You couldn't hear the weather, David. Tracking. I asked a question, you answered, and I wasn't tracking with your answer. Bill says, Sully, you and me both. About what? Oh, Ontario? Yeah. All right, cool. I'm trying to track here. All right, here we go. Pat's coming in with like some real stuff. All right. He says, what is your favorite motorized motion control slider system? I can't remember the name of this seemingly really cool one I saw at NAB last year that you agreed was cool, but, ? Well, that one was a company called Axibo, Axibo, and they are based out of the Toronto area. A lot of representing here, or representation from the Canadians in this episode. Very cool system, and definitely one to consider. Kessler Crane actually just did an update on their motion control system. And there's an article up, I believe, on either Cine D or News Shooter. It might be both. And they've got an Unreal integration into their system now, kind of like Axibo does. And that's not necessarily the selling point for everybody, but that's been upgraded. And then there is, oh my God, I'm going blank. those are really sort of motion control based. Then you've got Rhino, who's right up north in Washington State. They have some really nice stuff as well. But for precision, cost-effective, motorized motion control, like when we're really talking about motorized motion control, I would probably say that the one to really consider is actually the Kessler system, because it was designed for that purpose, the software and everything else. It's designed for repeatability, which is what you need if you're really looking for a motorized motion control system. But the other stuff is, pretty cool stuff as well. Yeah, the Exebo system I really, really liked. I just feel like, or at least at the time, they were still very much in a startup phase, right? So a lot of things were just happening on the fly. So they make great stuff. They're very smart engineers over there, but I just feel like it wasn't quite, it may be now, and we'll find out at NAB, wasn't quite ready for prime time, like for mass market. And I'm not talking about moving thousands of units, but just really being there for that. Good. Brandon, Oregon's a pretty awesome place, and May is probably amazing. We don't know when the faucet gets turned off, but it's usually in that May, June. And once it's off for a long time. So I think you're going to love it here. And they do have good coffee. I don't think you drink, you might, meaning the alcoholic stuff. But if you do, then of course, wine is a big thing here. And there's distillers and all that stuff too. Okay, we got somewhere. That kind of got us through about 7 minutes of just continuous. I'm waiting here. I'm looking at this screen, and I don't see an theC47. Let's get another topic going, because that's what this live stream's all about. Anything's fair game within reason. If it's not, I'll say so. But let's get some more topics going here. What do we got? Come on, kids. I've got 5 more episodes of the Daily Drop to shoot by probably end of day tomorrow, Friday morning, the latest. The good thing is that I have 7 topics written down, so I'll do 5 of those 7 topics, unless something comes up, sort of like swoops in at the last minute. But I do need to shoot. I've already shot the rest of this week, and I need to do Monday through Friday of next week. And good Jeff is right. And as I said, Kessler now has Unreal integration with their latest version of what they're doing. Let me just see, actually. I'm going over to the computer, so you're looking at me in profile here. Let's see. I'll tell you if it's on News Shooter or if it's on... Too many windows open here. It does make it a little bit crazy. And somebody just made a comment here. I think that my browser window is actually over on this monitor. Let's see what's happening here. Yes, it is. All right, kids, let me see. I'm going to come back to that. I'm going to let some questions pile up while I go onto the interwebs and see where this article is on the Kessler thing. Oh. Came TV Nano Wireless Intercom Review. That looks interesting. Core. This is an interesting name. Fucus Pucus Power Block for Alexis Mini. I like that. That name is kind of catchy. And I am pretty sure I'm heading over to Cine D for this Kessler update. Let me just double check. Yeah, I'm feeling pretty good about that. And I'm seeing out of the corner of my eye, and I'm sure you can still hear me even though I'm a little off axis, that that there is some questions. Ooh, Swit came out with a 21.5-inch HDMI and 12G SDI field monitor. Looks kind of interesting. Let's go. Oh, if you want to see those videos for OpenAI Sora, just go to cined.com. They have it as like one of the top 6 or 7 posts on there. And I'm still here. I'm just looking. Where did they bury this? They didn't bury it, but hold on. Where's the little search box on this site? Come on. Where's the UI, kids? All right. Well, Kessler does have an update. I'm not gonna sit here looking for it forever. But they definitely have an update to what they're doing with the Unreal Engine thingamajigger. I'll give it 30 more seconds. Here it is. Kessler KOS version 5.1 motion control app released, Unreal Engine integration, and more. That was 3 days ago. So there you go. Here we go. So that's just a few days ago. Good Jeff. Weird saying that. Good Jeff. Good Jeff, Sweet Pat. Where are we? Come on. Here we go. I'm back. Now I'm going to scroll backwards. Sully says, do you own any vintage cinema cameras or camcorders? Yes. Yes. And stills cameras. Don't even get me started on that conversation. It's a disease, Sully. But it's a disease that I wholeheartedly accept and I embrace, and it's part of who I am, and I don't feel bad about it. You know, when it's my time, I'll look back and say, no regrets. Pat is excited to report that he has picked up a good Sony, I guess a good copy of the 24 to 70. It's a good lens. $700. Nice. Is that the F4 or 2.8? Tell me. Can I tell you anything more about the new sponsorships? 4 companies: AJA, Axoon, Calibrite. Also known, well, prior to that, the charts and stuff was X-Rite and Nanlite. And so starting in April, you'll start to see some post rolls, and for some of those companies in episode rolls, you know, this episode is sponsored by Nanlite. Nanlite makes great lights, and you know, and then there'll be featured equipment integrated into episodes of the Daily Drop. That's what I got for you right now. Still trying to sort it out, working with the various manufacturers on what that content's going to be and when it happens, because it's not like a sponsor is going to be in every episode. I mean, and that's just not the way it's going to work right now. But yeah. All right, here we go. Getting over here to scrolling down. Good Jeff still uses the newer with 2 E's, as I like to say, slider. Nothing wrong with that. If it's doing the job, you go for it. Listed for $800 for Pat's 24 to 70. Was going to take that when he offered $700. He's a worse business man. All right, there you go. Yes, Gerald did a Exebo interview. I don't think that's recent though, right, Bill? It was a while ago that he did that. David's coming in with, he went to a Ministry and Gary Newman concert last night. I'm sure that was fun. And Sully, I don't know if I'm giving you the top 5. I mean, and when you say vintage, that's all perspective, you know. Like I would consider nowadays the Panasonic DVX 100 series vintage for video cameras. Maybe even the C100, but maybe not on that. And, you know, somewhere I have an old Optura Pi. I wouldn't consider that a workhorse camera. Some of those cameras I've sold in the past. Minolta CLE for a stills camera. Love that. The OM4 Ti from Olympus for a stills camera. Also one of my favorites. Do I have to give you one more for vintage? I don't know what the fifth one is. There we go. New lens is the 2.8. First gen. Nice. Okay. Person with the most cameras in heaven wins. What do we win, Brandon? That's what I want to know. All right. Canon A1. Yes, there's one of those around here. It's probably on the shelf behind me. There's Nikon F behind me. I'm telling you, it's a disease. So, you know, there's other stuff here. I don't know. Here's one Sully that I haven't used, but it wasn't. I found it in the bin somewhere. It's the Canon 514 XL. Look at that little guy. What do you think? For an 8mm, it's pretty cool. The lens, it's a C8 lens. Does it say what we got here? It's a 9 to 45mm, and then it has a setting for macro. That's vintage. You know, most of this stuff just sits on the shelf. Not the stills cameras, like the CLE and the the 4Ti. Those are actually being used. Do I want an EX3 for my collection? If you're offering it to me, absolutely. I owned an EX1 for many years and I loved it. And that camera worked hard. It really did. So when the DVX100 was, we'll call it, replaced by the HVX200, which was, Panasonic's foray for that camera line into HD. We used it on projects, both as is with the built-in lens and also with 35mm lens adapters, but it was soft. Interpret that as you will. But EX1, sharp. So EX1, that's the one. I never bought the HVX200. We just used it a lot. And there we go. What's happening, DJ? We are, it's not a new camera. No, Sully was asking about vintage cameras, so I pulled out this little 8mm Canon 514 XL. Never shot on it. Don't even know if it works. Feel like it could. It's a lot cheaper than that new Kodak. There we go. Yes. All right. What else we got? DJ's in the house now. We're going into our last 16 minutes of the show. One of my kids, who doesn't live here all the time, is coming up. So when the show's done, I'm going to try to see if I can bang out an episode or two before the end of the day. Otherwise, I'm just going to get up really early in the morning and come out here and crank out the episodes for next week. And there you go. All right, kids. What do we got? I need an theC47. We got about 15 minutes left in the big show. And by that, I mean very small show. Emails pouring in about upcoming productions. I like that. I'd rather they come in now and not when we're on set or on location. But it's going to be, I'm going to be barely breathing by end of day Friday. But I'm going to feel better for it. And I always say I'd rather be busy than not. All right. Let's bring something in here. I'm ready for some more stuff to happen on this very, very quiet comments and reactions page. I've got 4 thumbs up. I appreciate any ones that happen. I did not go to Canada yet, DJ Succotash. I am going next week, driving up to Vancouver, BC, create some content for the channel, meet up with a friend, see what that city's all about. I heard it's very beautiful, but like the rest of the left coast, it has its problems. Maybe don't just leave stuff in your car for people to check out. I don't know. Somebody's got to give me some lowdown on Vancouver. I'm excited to go see the city, eat some of its, what I can understand, great food. I think there's some pretty awesome Asian food up in Vancouver, BC. But any knowledge you have to drop with me on here is great. XL2, I remember that one. XL1, XL2 though, come on with that. It was iconic. Can I say that about the XL2? I can say that about the. Oh yeah, we have the XL2, and then it was at the GL. I don't think there was an XL1. It was a GL, and then you had the XL was the one with the little, right? Am I right? And then you kind of like gingerly took that little slant and just rested it on your shoulder. Maybe you didn't. Okay, DJ. Vancouver is Canada's California. But with the Pacific Northwest weather, let's be honest. Okay. Don't try XL1. Yeah, there was an XL1. Okay. I'm not. They were white, and then they became off-white. Do I use DaVinci Resolve? I do not. I do own it. It's just not part of my workflow. And that's probably, yeah. What's your thoughts about EL zone exposure? I'm totally sold and hope more companies integrate it into their products. Not something I'm using, David. From what I've seen, it looks great. And I know that there are DPs and camera ops who absolutely love it. If you know, my viewpoint is if it's working for you and it's giving you something in production that's helping you do your job, it's absolutely fantastic. So there was an X. Yeah, why am I thinking of there's also a G in the Canon line, right? So hold on, let's look. XL1, which I know what that looks like, right? So let's see. Boom, boom, boom. Yes. Oh no, XL1 had the little bump. And what was the difference? Was one interchangeable and one wasn't? Or was it? No. XL1 came out first, and then they came out with the XL2. It's kind of like DVX100, DVX100B, right? Am I right about that? I think I'm right. I definitely hired people who were using the XL series cameras, but they had the same form factor, I believe, as each other. Yes, they did. Okay, now I'm remembering what's going on. And then we had the GL. Was it GL1? Yes. That was the little more compact version, which kind of looked like a black and white version of the DVX camera in a way. But the DVX 100 was a unicorn camera with 24 and all that stuff. There's some fire Filipino food. Ooh, I like Filipino food. All right, good to know. All right, well, I have my friend doing some research based on where I'm staying. And I know at least on Monday night, I'm going to get one, hopefully, culinary experience. And now it's coming back to me. Yep. I think I'm figuring it all out. Did you see all the rehouse vintage glass for Dune on CVP? I did see something about that, but I haven't been able to look into it much. I saw a post, but didn't go into the post. Wow. We're going deep in the XL series here. I'm looking up. It's like a trip down memory lane here. So some of these cameras I owned and some of I just had on jobs. So let's see what we got here. Oh yeah. XL H1A, the all black camera, interchangeable lens. That was a beast, right? That was good. And then let's see. Again, never owned any of these cameras. Yep. Okay, cool. There we go. Yeah, the first sort of grown-up camera I bought in the mini DV line, though I had used other cameras on jobs and hired people who used these cameras we're talking about now, were was the Canon the Panasonic DVX 100B. I'd already done a lot with the A original. You can go tapeless with them. Oh, nice. Going to what externally? Remind me. James says, I think GL1s were consumer of XFs, but could be wrong. Thank you, James. All right. I didn't know we were going down that road. But Sully, you got us messing about and remembering things from the past. All right. So we're less than 10 minutes away, I believe. So what other topics do we want to bring up as we take this home for this week's episode? For anybody who wasn't here at the top of the show, I do want to remind everybody that we have this week's live stream, which is close to over. And then next week, no live stream. I will be out of town and I will not be able to do the live stream. And then the following week is the Pre-NAB, April 10th at 3 p.m. Pacific time, Camera Flask, where we will hopefully be talking about some announcements and what those are, and having a big chat about those. Ben will be back, so it'll be Ben, myself, Caleb, and there we go. Atomos Ninja Star for the win. Obviously, I did an episode on that recently. I want the 4K Ninja Star, and Sully says that this Cloner Alliance View Pro out of this Canon camera went to you went to that over RCA outputs. Hey, RCA. White, red, all the good stuff. Man, okay. All right, what do we got? We are quiet now. What do we have? Come on, DJ, you're crazy. Any other recs for Vancouver next week? Love to hear about that. And Good Jeff is asking, what's my favorite accessory for the FX30, or maybe one way you'd like to use the camera that's out of the box? I don't think so for me. I think that one of the reasons that I absolutely love this camera, and let me see. Sorry, it's kind of, I have to do the quick release, is that in my hand, it works. It's small, it's compact, it's got these 1/4-20 taps if I need to use it for something. You know, for me, the beauty of it is just that it's this, and that's what I love. Coupled with that 18-50, this is the 10-18 from Sigma. You know, that's not a perfect lens, but it's great. So I don't have any special things, that, it's a Wireless Pro sometimes sits in the shoe on here, but I tend to not rig out very much. I like using this with a little slider sometimes. So that little S40 slider from Axoon, it's called the Top Rig S40. I like that. So yeah. Brandon, I do not still have a Pentax K1000. I keep going back to, maybe buying a used one because it was my first proper stills camera. My dad bought me a used one when I was a kid. But I still have the manual, the original manual I had. I don't know why I still have it. It's sitting in the drawer here, with my name written on it. But yeah, that's, great camera, tank. Do I think that the ZV-E10-2 will be an FX30 that might overheat? I have no clue. I don't know where Sony's going. I hope Sony has something new at NAB. Burano was a big launch for them, so I'm not sure if this is the show for them, but I'm hoping we're seeing something in that, FX line My guess is we're probably not seeing an FX3 Mark II right now. I mean, it has been on the market for a while. To me, the big thing they need to sort out in the FX3 line is being able to shoot crop in 4K. Because right now you have that problem with is it the A7S3, I think, where because of the sensor, you know, not size, but because of the, the pixels, the pixels, when you go to 4K in Super 35 crop mode, you can only capture in 1080. So to me, that's not a great thing. Not loving that part of it. A7C2 sensor can do that. So when I crop on that like I am right now, I can stay in 4K. Open gate would be nice for social media. I agree, James. It'd be nice to be able to just shoot basically open gate and then be able to, have guides and then create your 16:9 and your 9:16 and, 1-to-1 aspect ratio content. I think we're sort of settled now in a world where we're horizontal 16:9, vertical 9:16. There's specific applications, but I'm not seeing a lot of, maybe you are, 1-to-1 square content on Insta. But yeah. RCA is still used. Yeah. I still actually have some RCA based stuff here because of the way my audio is rigged. So in order for me to get from over there to over here with some of the speakers I have, they're RCA based, which is why. And, I keep a lot of stuff from the old days. I think, yes, good Jeff, or the good Jeff, that the FX6 and the FX9 would probably get updates first over the FX30 and FX3. I may be wrong about that, but to me, it would seem like they're the logical next cameras for Sony to update. So not 100% sure. Again, hopefully we will see that. Happy Easter to you as well, Bill, as we wind up the last couple of minutes of the show. Any last things that anybody wants to bring up before we take this home and revisit a live stream 2 weeks from now with Camera Flask with myself, Ben Barden, and Caleb Pike? Would love to see if there's anything else. Otherwise, we'll close this one out. And yeah, people woke up. We got some real conversations going here. I have to find the screen that allows me to press the end stream stuff. But we got into some subjects, and I think we covered some good ground. If you do, in fact, celebrate Easter, religiously or otherwise, enjoy it with your friends and your family. And again, I will not be here with the live stream next Wednesday, but there will be daily content for the Daily Drop. That's what I got, kids. I'm going to go back to work, get some more things done today. And Bill swooping in, just joined. What did I miss? Unfortunately, you'll have to watch it on the replay. And everybody, just as a last thing here, and we'll talk about it before NAB, more than likely it's going to be just me that we're going to be doing a meetup with. Caleb's schedule is very, very short at the show. I am currently still looking at Monday, April 15th, and I think that's probably going to be the day. And what I'm trying to do is give it a little bit more leeway so it's not too rushed. I'm feeling like it's going to sort of be somewhere in the, what do I have here on the schedule? Somewhere in that 3:30 p.m. time slot on Monday, April 15th. All right. We'll see. Everybody, take care of yourself. Enjoy the rest of your week. Enjoy your weekend. And I'll see you on the live stream, Camera Flask, in 2 weeks from today. Take care. See you. Bye.